Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 12th of February and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Guys, my name is Sahil and in the today's newspaper analysis, we will be taking up the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll also see if there are some good and relevant articles in the Indian Express explained section. Now, let's start with the analysis for today. Okay, so guys, first of all, there is an important announcement that I have to make. So tomorrow we will be holding a live Q&A session that is on Sunday. The timing will be 11 a.m. Okay, so again I'm repeating, tomorrow at 11 a.m. there will be a live Q&A session. You can join the Q&A session and you can ask whatever questions, whatever doubts you are having there. So please join it live. Now, first of all, let's take the analysis of the overview of the entire newspapers. So this is the Indian Express explained section, and the first article here is talking about the politics and the history in Goa. So Prime Minister has commented that it was Jawaharlal Nehru's inaction that the Goa got liberation, okay, later. So however, this particular thing is not important for our examination. It is just a political comment that has been made. Fine. Then further moving on, the Hindu newspaper. So guys, into the Hindu newspaper, when we see the first article here, it is the ongoing hijab controversy is going on. So we have already seen this particular thing, and I have told you yesterday also that please don't go and follow everyday development into this particular thing. Supreme Court had said that we will intervene if it will be needed. Then the Quad meet focuses on Indo-Pacific ties. So we will be seeing the fourth ministerial Quad meet has happened. So we'll see that what has come out of this. Then IIP growth slowed to 0.4% in December. Now the numbers, every month's data is not important, but what is this IIP and all these things? So with respect to the economy, we will be taking it up. Then further moving on, so into the city section, fine, college reopening and all these kind of things have been mentioned. Advertisements not important for our examination. Now guys, as we are moving here, the which branding has been mentioned. Now which branding, it is actually a very important topic with respect to the social issues. Okay, so we'll see this particular thing. Then after that we reach to the editorial page. So taking a bite out of the cyber threats, we'll see this article. Then in a double bind facing conservatism and politics. So this article, it's talking about that how the women are facing, the Muslim women particularly, they face a kind of exclusion, okay, and so all such kind of things. Trump dump rhetoric. Now guys, recently the Uttar Pradesh chief minister had commented that had made a comment where he had said that we need to take some urgent steps, otherwise the UP might become like Kashmir, Kerala and all such kind of things. Now this particular thing has been criticized by the respective the other political leaders. So this particular thing is covered with respect to examination, not very much important. However guys, just one thing I want to talk here is that the basically, as the different states are, they are the units of federalism, okay, they are the components of Indian federalism, and being the constitution, being the constituents of India, they need to have a constitutional restraint and they need to work on the lines of cooperation and collaborations rather than undue criticism. Okay, so just a one liner message. However, into the article with respect to the examination, much of a substance is not there. Clearing the airways. So now that the tourism is coming up front, the government is going for relaxations. We'll see this article little bit. Then guys, further moving on, today is Saturday, and onto the Saturday there is a ground zero report comes, which actually talks about the basically some of the issue. Okay, so basically today's ground zero report is talking about the garment firms hanging by a thread. So how into the Haryana, okay, the garment factory workers, they are facing the problem. So the personal stories, personal accounts of basically the people has just been talked about. So, but with respect to the examination, much of a substance is not there. Okay, so this is about the ground zero report. Then after that, moving on, then we see that basically the political news etc has been mentioned, assembly polls. Okay, so all those political stakes are there. Then will continue to support India's rise. So USA had released their Indo-Pacific policy and the development from the Quad has been mentioned. We'll see this article. Then India Australia edge to close the interim deal. So it is talking about the SECA between the Australia and India. We'll see this particular thing. Then further moving on, After that, on to the world page again. Ukraine, Russia, US, this particular thing is going on, where on the Ukraine, Russia and USA every day they are exchanging their words. Fine. So again, please don't go every day that what has come in this particular direction. USA to use frozen Afghan assets for relief 9/11 victims. Okay, so we have seen that after the Taliban came to the power into the Afghanistan, Afghanistan's assets fine have been frozen by the US, and now they say that they will be using to give the relief for 9/11 victims. Just a kind of a not a very important detail with respect to our examination. Then on reaching on to the business page, the IIP growth slowed to 0.4%. Okay, though the data is not important because every month it will be changing, but the concept is important. So with respect to the conceptual understanding, we'll see this thing. After that, the corporate trends etc., which has been mentioned, not important with respect to the examination. Then there is a sports page, and as today the Saturday is there, text and the context section that we take every day, it is not today on Saturday it does not come, so the text and context will not be there in the today's newspaper. Fine. So this is guys about the overview of the newspaper, and let's now take the analysis one by one in the detail. Now, moving on, so as we take in our every class, so today we will be starting up with the GS quote. So today we'll be taking the quote from the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji. So Gandhi ji says that the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problem. Okay, so what you are doing and what you are capable to do, so our capabilities and our present actions will define will actually solve the most of the problems. So we need to push up to our capabilities and need to work for the collective development of the humanity as a whole. So this is the idea. You can utilize it in GS paper number 4. GS paper number 4. Fine. So that is all about the GS quote, and now let's take the MCQs first of all. So the yesterday's MCQ answers. So the first question, the correct answer was B. Correct answer was B, and the second question, the correct answer again was B. You can pause the video and can see the explanation. Okay, and this particular entire PDF you can download from our Telegram channel. Okay, the link is given in the description box. Now after this, taking up the today's MCQ questions. So first MCQ question is regarding the Monetary Policy Committee, because recently MPC had come out with their report, and basically the MPCs with respect to it, two statements have been given. Consider the statements and then answer the answer which is correct one. Okay, and then second question, into the second question also there are certain statements with respect to the minimum support price, because the MSP has been a lot into the news. Fine, now the farmers, they have called off their protest, but they are asking that the MSP needs to be given as a in a statute. MSP is to be provided. So with respect to MSP, the statements are there. Consider the statements and mark the right answer. Guys, whatever your answer is, see, pause the video, identify the right answer and write it into the comment box. Okay, so this is about it. Now starting up with the articles for today. So first of all, the first article here we have taken from the Hindu newspaper, and actually the two articles we have clubbed here. Now both of these particular articles are relevant for our GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, issues related to the international relation, issues related to the international relations, international affairs. Okay, so now before going into this particular article, let's see some of the background and the context as what has happened. Okay, now see, basically today as we talk about the Indo-Pacific region, it has become a very, very important strategic arena in the world affairs, into the world politics, because the Indo-Pacific, number one, it has the market. Because of its large population, and because of the market it has economic prospects. After that, there is the strategic aspect into the Indo-Pacific. Why? Because number one, the strategic sea lanes of trade. Okay, strategic lanes of trade, sea lanes of trade, they are they're passing from the Indo-Pacific. So there is the strategic importance. Moreover, the strategic importance of the Indo-Pacific lies into this particular fact also, that the China is emerging into the Indo-Pacific, and 2015, post 2015, China is particularly driven by the arrival factor under the Xi Jinping's leadership. Okay, post 2015 actually this change has come, and now the China is contending for the superpower status. So the geostrategic shift is also going into the Indo-Pacific region. Is it clear or not? Now, therefore the USA actually becomes very much interested into the Indo-Pacific, and in the Indo-Pacific, USA believes that actually the India can be the counterpart to the China. USA believes that India could be the counterweight to the China. Is it clear or not? So therefore, in order to consolidate the power into the Indo-Pacific, the Western world as well as some regional players, they have come together. And a grouping has been formed for the Indo-Pacific region, and this particular grouping is called as the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. Now, the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, it is a strategic dialogue for this Indo-Pacific region, and there are the four participants into the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, that is the India, Japan, Australia, and USA. Now, this quadrilateral security dialogue actually was the brainchild of the Shinzo Abe of Japan. Okay, so it was the brainchild of the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and actually in 2007, this Quad initiative was started. Now, what happened, guys? In 2009, this Quad, it was put into the cold storage because the Australia, it went into a kind of a strategic ambivalence. Australia started to not take too much of interest here. Moreover, Australia little bit become inclined towards the China, and actually from 2009 to 2017, this Quad organization was a kind of in a cold storage. Nothing was happening here. But what happened in 2017 during the ASEAN summit in Manila? All the four countries, they said that okay, let's restart the Quad again. So Australia, US, Japan and India, all they said that let's restart the Quad. Now, why in 2017? Because I told you that, guys, post 2015, China actually started to become very much aggressive. It started to show its strategic strength here into the region, and actually to contain the China in 2017, it was decided that let's again start the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. Now, guys, the Quad, the member countries here, they call them as the Diamond of Democracies. Four countries, they call them as the Arc of Democracies. So these words, Diamond of Democracies, Arc of Democracies, they are specifically to point the China which does not maintain the democratic credentials. So it is being used against the China. Now, guys, when this Quad happens, from time to time, there are the foreign ministers meet that happened, and then there are the summit level meets that happened between the head of the countries. Now, why the Quad is there into the news? Because, guys, now the Quad meet between the foreign ministers had happened. The foreign ministers from all the four countries, they have participated, and now later part, after the into the second half of the year, then there will be the summit leaders, basically national. There will be the summit that will happen between the prime minister, okay, and the presidents. Okay, so this is going on. Now, what had actually come out of this foreign ministers meet that had happened? What had come out of this foreign ministers meet that had happened? So the grouping, the foreign ministers, they had provided this particular thing that they will be focusing on, number one, speeding up the delivery of vaccines. The more than 1 billion COVID-19 vaccines will be manufactured into the India, and they will be delivered to the countries where the people have not been vaccinated. So first of all, focus will be onto the vaccine delivery. Is it clear? Second thing that has been emphasized is that they will be holding a special meet onto the climate change. They will be holding the special meet onto the climate change. Then after that, the third thing is there that the maritime security into the region will also be ensured. Now, the maritime security, actually this is an indication that has been given to the China that we will not let China to show their unilateralism, particularly into the South China Sea, and the maritime security will be ensured. And there are the non-state actors also. Okay, there is a piracy also, which is a problem. So for that thing also, the maritime security will be ensured. Okay, so this is something that has happened. However, there is a difference on Myanmar and Russia actually that has come. Now, what is the difference between onto the Myanmar and Russia? See, as this quadrilateral security dialogue has happened between the foreign ministers, so basically the comment has been made onto the Russia and the role of the NATO. So basically the USA says that the NATO has been proactive in countering the Russia over the Ukraine, and they have said that NATO with their full force will deter the Russian designs into the Ukraine. They will not let Russia intimidate the Ukraine. This particular comment has been made by the USA. But India had not supported, neither it has supported nor it has opposed this particular comment against the Russia. Why? Because Russia happens to be a strategic partner for India. Russia is important because on to the BrahMos there is a collaboration that is going with Russia. On many other defense and trade aspects also Russia is important. Russia is important for our connect Central Asian policy. So on to the Russia, the comment that has been there, neither we have supported it nor we have opposed it. We have maintained a kind of a neutrality in this particular thing. Then the second difference was on the Myanmar. It was on to the Myanmar. Now guys, what is about this particular Myanmar issue? See, basically we have already seen that in 2021 what happened. In 2021 what happened, there was the military coup that has happened in the Myanmar, and because of this military coup, the democratic government of the Myanmar, it has been removed. Now because of this particular thing, on the Myanmar the USA is imposing the sanction. On the Myanmar the USA is imposing the sanction. Now there is basically a problem into this particular regard that is there. USA imposes a sanction onto the Myanmar. Now because of the USA's sanction onto the Myanmar, the situation in Myanmar, the economic condition into the Myanmar, it has declined. Okay, now if Myanmar is India's neighbor, if there will be some economic problem that will come, obviously what will happen, the exodus of refugees, the spillover effect will happen over the India. So India does not believe that the sanctions can be the right approach. Reason number one. Reason number two is there that if we will also support the sanctions, okay, over the Myanmar, then guys, the Myanmar's military will pose two problems for India. Problem number one, that they will not participate into the insurgency operations into the northeast. So into the northeast, in counter-insurgency operations, Myanmar's military had helped us. So there we will lost the help. Second problem that will come here is that if we will support the sanctions onto the Myanmar will go near to the China. The Myanmar will go near to the China, and then China might use the Myanmar for their own interest. Is it clear? And into the northeast. So therefore on the Myanmar we have held a kind of a ambiguity. We have not supported the USA's policy of sanctions. So therefore the difference into the Myanmar and Russia has been there. I hope that you have understood both of them. Now the second development that is coming here is that guys, USA has finally announced their Indo-Pacific strategy. They have finally announced their Indo-Pacific strategy. Now guys, see, basically sometimes you need to be very smart. Okay, now certain things are there for which you not need to read, but Indo-Pacific strategy of USA, what it will be there, even without reading, you can say that there will be the 2-3 components that will be there. Component number one, they will talk about the free passage. They will talk about the free passage. They will talk about the freedom of the seas. They will talk about the freedom of the seas. Second thing, what they will talk? They will talk about that there should not be basically the China or any country, fine, China or any country should not show their unilateralism. China or any country should not show their unilateralism. Third, what they will say? They will say that we will promote the democratic values. We will promote the democratic values into the region, liberal values into the region, and we will develop the capabilities of the regional powers. We will develop the capabilities of the regional powers. Countries such as India, their capability will be built. Okay, so this is something common. Whenever India's stand, you ask what India will say. India will say that will not interfere into another's matter. We will make sure that with peaceful resolution, into the peaceful manner, some resolution should come out. So there are some rhetoric, some common kind of words that is often used. Now the same thing is again there into the US's Indo-Pacific strategy. What they have talked, you can see the same things are there. They say building the collective capacity to deal with the challenges into the region. China's assertiveness, it is needed to be fought. Now as we are into the pandemic, fine, pandemic will be taken up. Okay, after that USA will support the India's rise, regional leadership. Okay, so this is all something that has happened. Fine. So guys, these are the developments that had come out of this quad two developments. Number one, they have emphasized on some common areas, and secondly, in USA had also come out with their Indo-Pacific strategy. That is all about this particular article. Now moving to the next article. Okay, let's take some of the comments that are there. Okay, good morning everybody, good morning. Okay, sir, please can you speak at high pitch voice? Okay, I think that the voice or the sound is fine. Okay, if there is a problem, please tell me again. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, is this useful for Delhi HCM exam? See, guys, we are actually taking up the current affairs. Okay, whatever exam you are preparing, okay, having the holistic knowledge is something which is needed. Okay, no examination come out that okay, this current affairs or that current affair. Current affair is just current affairs. Fine. Delhi, India, Australia edge closer to the final interim deal. Okay, basically what this article is talking about and what this interim deal is all about between the India and Australia. First of all, we need to understand some of the background, and only after understanding this background, this news will make some of sense. First of all, where this particular thing will be important, it will be important in GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2 international relations, and in GS paper number 3, GS paper number 3 also it will be important into the bilateral trade. Now, understand guys the background first of all. So this background goes like this, that actually India and Australia, they are negotiating on the SECA. They are negotiating onto the SECA, that is Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. Okay, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. Now into this particular SECA, it is nothing but a kind of a free trade agreement. Now this free trade agreement, it will be very wide type of free trade agreement. It will cover the trade in goods, it will cover the services, it will cover the investment and all these kind of things. Now this SECA is going, the negotiation over this free trade agreement is going for so many years. There are actually the 9 rounds of the negotiation that had happened onto this SECA, but up till now nothing concrete had come. And actually in 2015 what happened, the India and Australia both suspended even the negotiations because nothing concrete was coming out. Now first of all, what is the problem into this SECA? What is the problem into this particular SECA? So guys, the biggest problem that has been there is with respect to the dairy sector and the agriculture sector. Dairy sector and agriculture sector. You know this particular thing that Australia, it has a lot of prowess in both the dairy and the agriculture. Now what the Indian farmers are saying, that we have small land holdings, we are small farmers, and dairy work, actually dairy and is actually a very important component into the farmers income. They are saying this particular thing that if the Australia, New Zealand, they will come out with their dairy products, they will kill the Indian dairy industry. Their cheap import, cheap dairy products will flood the Indian market, and then the Indian farmers, they will be suffering a lot. The Indian farmer, they will be pushed into a state of import dependence, and even the nutritional security of India will be getting impacted. Now guys, into the same time, the Amul, which is the biggest milk brand, as well as the National Dairy Development Board, they have opposed this particular SECA, and particularly the component of dairy products. They have opposed this particular thing, and because of this particular reason only, the 9 rounds happened, but nothing concrete came. Now what had happened, the India and Australia, they have agreed that okay, we need to go forward with the SECA while keeping the domestic concerns into the mind. Now it has been said that within next 30 days, an interim deal will be finalized. And into this interim deal, we might not be covering the agriculture and the dairy sector in order to keep intact the interest of the Indian farmers. So this is an interim deal that they were moving about. They say that it will be a win-win document. Both the India and Australia will get some benefit, but at the same time the national interest will not be compromised. Fine. So this is something that has been there. Fine. So this is all about this particular article, and now moving to the next article. Okay. So make which branding as an offense, suggests panel. So this particular article, guys, it has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it will be very important article with respect to the GS paper number 1 as well as GS paper number 2, the women and related issues. GS paper number 1 and GS paper number 2, women and related issues. Now first of all, what this particular article is all about. Now guys, this witch branding, witch hunting, it has been a very big social problem fine for the women. Now what happens many a times, okay, there are certain states where the people, they brand certain women as the witches, they brand certain women as the witch. They say that these women, they have supernatural power, these women, they have some demonic powers, and these women, they possess the children, they possess other people, okay, and these witches, they are needed to be hunted down and they are needed to be eliminated. So this witch hunting against the women is a kind of a tradition or a superstition which is prevalent in some of the states. Now actually the victims, the women which has been branded as witch, they are tortured, okay, they are beaten, they are tortured, they are burned, okay, they are paraded naked throughout the entire village, they are forced to eat the human excrement, and sometimes they are even raped. Their children, okay, their children, they are killed, okay. So this is a kind of a very inhumane practice that is going on. And even the Guwahati High Court, it has said that witch branding and witch hunting is the human right violation, okay, but this is going on. Now guys, according to the National Crime Record Bureau, it is provided that witch hunting is prevalent into the states such as the Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Rajasthan, Assam, and there is the Odisha, which is having the large instances of the witch hunting. Now, when we talk about the witch hunting, over this particular thing, there is no nation level legislation. However, the different state governments had come out with their law. Now the witch hunting into the India, it is actually taken under the section 323 of the IPC, where 1 year's imprisonment is there and 1000 fine is there who is causing the harm voluntarily. And under this section of 323 of IPC, the witch hunting cases are taken. Now I have told you that there are the state governments which have come out with their different laws in this capacity. The Odisha is also there. Now guys, what had happened? Now the Odisha's State Commission for Women, Odisha's State Commissioner of Women, they have provided this particular thing, that there is a kind of a need to bring amendment into the Odisha Prevention of Witch Hunting Act 2013, because this particular act has not completely served the purpose. The State Commission for Women of Odisha's State Commission of Women is providing that even the branding of witches needed to be treated as a heinous crime and it needs to be punishable. Odisha's State Commission for Women had provided that we need to come out with a special courts which can try the witch hunting offense, and they had said that they need to be given a mandate that within 60 days they need to dispose this case. However, any appeal if it is being made, then these appeals need to be disposed within the 90 days from the date of judgment. So a time bound manner of dealing with this witch hunting needs to be there so that the women can be given the justice. So guys, this is the entire issue of the witch hunting. Now what could be the way forward? What could be the way forward? So way forward could be this. Number one, what we need to do, there need to be a national legislation, there need to be a nation level law which actually brands the witch hunting as a punishable offense. Second thing, what is to be done, we need to sensitize the people with respect to the scientific temperament. We need to educate the people with respect to the scientific temperament. It is even a fundamental duty mentioned in article number 51A. So people are needed to be sensitized and educated. Now guys, as we are talking about, there are certain case studies taken by some states. These case studies can also be imitated. Now here, one case study I want to specifically mention. It is the Project Prahari, started in 2001. It was an initiative by DGP Kuladhar Shakia. Now what is this Project Prahari of 2001? Now it is actually aimed at fighting the witch hunting by uplifting the socio-economical status of the people. Now here the policing along with the social campaigns will be started. People will be educated. There will be the coalitions of different stakeholders, civil societies, women groups, students, science clubs. They will be formed and they will sensitize the people with respect to the witch hunting. Is it clear? clear? Regular health camps are organized, okay, knowledges are imparted, social changes brought. So this is the attitudinal change that the project Prahari is working upon. Attitudinal change, guys, understand this particular thing, that to implement any cause there are two things that are needed: hardware approach and software approach. Hardware approach is that we need to build the institutions, we need to come out with a law providing some penalty, but at the same time software approach entails changing their attitudes, and for attitude change education is very much important, and project Prahari is actually working on bringing the attitudinal change. So this is all about this thing. I hope that you have understood this entire issue, and now we'll be moving to the next article, clearing the airways. Now guys, this particular article taken from the Hindu editorial section, it is a very generalistic article, as now India is opening up, it is easing the curbs onto the international tourism that was there. Okay, now first of all, tourism, first of all some background. Fine. By the way, this article will be important in GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, issues related to the Indian economy. Now see, tourism happens to be a very important pillar of any economy, including the economy of India. Why? Because the tourism has a potential of generating the large direct as well as indirect jobs, and secondly, the tourism, it also brings the valuable foreign exchange. It brings the valuable foreign exchange. India can actually leverage the tourism because India has some distinct advantages. Number one advantage of India is the India's soft capital, India's cultural capital. Now you understand, guys, actually the three of the great religions of the world, they have been born in India. That is the Sanatan Dharma of Hinduism, after that there is Buddhism, after that there is a Jainism. Okay, so because of that particular thing, there is a lot of cultural and spiritual capital of India that can be leveraged, and the spiritual tourism is a very big advantage for India. After the spiritual tourism, guys, the second is the medical tourism. The second one is the medical tourism. Now if you see this particular thing, India had developed the medical capabilities which in terms of efficiency they are par on western countries, but in terms of cost they are 1/10 of the treatment cost into the western countries. So in terms of cost, India can provide 1/10, and in terms of efficiency they are equivalent to the western standards. So the medical tourism happens to be a very big potential for India. Is it clear or not? And then guys, thirdly, at the same time, India provides a lot of opportunities. India has all the potential of being the recreational hub also. Is it clear? So for recreational purpose, tourism can also happen. So spiritual tourism, medical tourism, and recreational tourism, all three could be there. But guys, because of the pandemic, all them have declined, particularly because of the restriction onto the international travel that was there. Now these restrictions are being imposed. Now the COVID-19 pandemic had caused the loss of 150 lakh crore rupees since March 2020, a very big loss that had happened. Now India, the data with respect to the tourism, India had at least 1.1 crore inbound tourist and 2.7 crore outbound tourist annually. Is it clear? Now we are opening again the international tourism, and the mandatory quarantine that was there, it is being removed. Now guys, why the tourism sector is being opened up? There are certain reasons for that particular thing. Number one, first of all, now we have seen that even the booster doses that have been given by some of the countries, they don't work. Even after the doses, even after getting infected, the breakthrough infections are common. Is it clear? So the transmission will never be completely be stopped. Even by the vaccines, the COVID-19 virus cannot be eliminated. What there is needed to be a mix of approaches, where we need to take the vaccine, there we need to follow the hygiene, we need to wear the mask. The herd immunity will ensure the elimination. This particular thing has also been outruled. So we need to learn to live with this COVID-19 virus, and into this capacity we need to open up everything endlessly. Basically endlessly, we cannot keep closed our tourism sector, our education. This we need to learn. World must need to learn with living with this pandemic, and the tourism is needed to be opened up. This is all about. Now guys, within this article as a whole, much of substance is not there, but this background that is there with respect to the tourism, it is a very important thing which you can utilize in any answer coming on to the tourism. So that is all about this particular thing, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Taking a bite out of cyber threats. Taking a bite out of cyber threats. Now guys, into this particular article, there are some two technical issues points that have been mentioned, particularly with respect to the cyber domain. Okay, too much technicality is not needed for our examination, because you are preparing for general studies and your answers needs to be more of a generalistic nature. Is it clear? That is one thing that you need to keep it in mind while reading any kind of article. Now, basically, when we talk about the cyber threats into the era of pandemic, the cyber threats have become ubiquitous. Cyber threats, they have become very much problematic. Why? Because there is a disruption that has come. Disruption in education, disruption in healthcare, disruption in working. And what is this disruption? Everything actually turned online. And because everything is turning online, the cyber security, the threat today has become a very big issue. Now guys, there is basically what happened. The article says that rather than waiting for a big bang cyber attack which will cripple all the capabilities, without waiting for it, we need to prepare our capabilities beforehand. Now guys, what had happened recently, the Defense Secretary has issued the warning to the world that we should prepare for the cyber Pearl Harbor. Now what is first of all the meaning of this cyber Pearl Harbor? Now guys, understand this particular thing. Actually, in 1941 there was the attack on the Pearl Harbor. Now the Pearl Harbor was of USA. USA's troops were stationed onto the Pearl Harbor, and attack was made by the Japan. Now this attack was a very surprise attack, and this attack actually led to a lot of loss for the USA. So Pearl Harbor attack means an attack which is surprised and which can actually cripple out a lot of damage. So this is something that is there. So a sudden attack onto the cyber capabilities of USA is called as the Pearl cyber attack, which can happen sometime into the future. This is something that is there. Now guys, it has been said that year 2020 and 2021 has been extremely difficult because a large number of cyber attacks have happened. Now the cyber attacks have become even more sophisticated. So today, the cyber attacks are there, credential threats are there, data breaches are there, phishing attacks, ransomware attacks are there, IT outages are there, and the most problematic type of cyber attack is actually the ransomware attack. Now guys, what is this ransomware attack? Basically, in the ransomware attack, basically your computer will be targeted and you will be logged out of your computer. The information, it will be logged and you cannot access the information of your computer. Now basically the cyber attackers, they will be asking you some ransom. They will ask you some ransom, some money which you have to pay, and only then they will restore back the access of your computer. Fine, otherwise you will lose all of your information, all of your data. Now today it has been said that into the information age, the data is the gold. And people and the corporates, they have to pay for this particular thing. So these ransomware attacks have become a very big kind of a concern, and a large number of them have already happened in 2020, 2021. Now the targeted sectors are actually the healthcare sector, education sector, research and communication, and the government also. Even the healthcare ransomware has become very much problematic, but they are not being publicized. Fine, what happened? The health data is actually taken, the patient's data is taken, and because of this particular thing, patient discharge is getting prolonged, and because the patient discharge is getting prolonged, many other problems are coming. Is it clear? See, whenever you are in a hospital induced infection, okay, HII, they are a very big problem. Okay, this is also happening there. So today it has been said that, see, no organization can claim that they are completely immune from the cyber attack. You cannot do that particular thing. It is provided that every 10 seconds there are some of the ransomware or cyber attack that is happening. We need to prepare ourselves. Now into this particular thing, multi-factor authentication and advanced persistent threats are basically set advanced persistent threats are set to achieve, and we need to use this multi-factor authentication. Now what these words are, see, see, first of all, the advanced persistent threats. Now the cyber attackers, they have become very much sophisticated. They have become very much sophisticated. There is an entire team of intruders that is working that how to defeat the most sensitive, most sophisticated kind of security architectures. Is it clear? So advanced persistent threat, one after the other, one after the another, they are improving and they are attacking. Now there is the multi-factor authentication that could serve a purpose. What is the multi-factor authentication? See, when you are, let's say, logging into your Gmail account, you put a password, but along with that password there is a multi-factor authentication on your mobile phone. There will be one prompt that will come, there will be a kind of a new code that will come. So along with the password, that code also you have to add. So this is the multi-factor authentication. So this is being something which is being touted as a solution, and it needs to take a center stage. Now it has been provided that at the same time it has been provided that there are some other solutions that could be there. That is the security access service edge. Fine, security access service edge, and then there is the CASB, that is the cloud access security broker. Now don't need to go too much into the detail, but actually what is this secure access service edge? Secure access service edge, basically guys, you see, today the clouds have become very much important. Today the cloud has become very much important. Now into the SaaS, what will happen? The network and security will be integrated into a common cloud, into one cloud. The network and the security will be integrated through the SaaS, and by by this particular thing, whatever the information is going there, it will be filtered through a kind of a integrated security architecture, and by this particular thing, your data, your network becomes more safe. So this is the SaaS, a new art technology, a new state of art technology that has been there. Okay, and one additional solution is also there, that is the CASB, that is the cloud access security broker. So it is also a secured web gate or based onto the cloud architecture. So these are some new age technologies that had come, and they can be utilized. They should be utilized in keeping the corporates more safe. After that, there is also the zero trust model that needs to be followed. What is this zero trust model? Zero trust model says that there should not be even a 0.1% trust onto the person who is logging. We need to identify the credentials completely from scratch. Is it clear? So zero trust model is that remembering of passwords, etc., it is needed to be taken up with a very critical inquiry. Is it clear? So with respect to identifying the credentials, fine, there needs to be no trust onto the user. This is something that has come. So guys, all this particular thing is pointing that we should not wait for the big bang cyber attack. We should proactively prepare by using the technical solutions. There are the human errors are also there, which are responsible for cyber breaches. That is also needed to be counted upon. So this is all which has been provided in this article. So that is all, and now moving to the next article. Now, in a double bind facing conservatism and politics. Now guys, here, fine, here basically the author of this particular article, she is narrating that how last week she went to a graveyard in Mumbai and she was asked to leave. Okay, and how the women, they are basically excluded, particularly the Muslim women. Okay, they are not being allowed to participate into the public life. They are not allowed to express their faith freely. So basically this article is talking that how different references, different sermons, different traces, different texts are there which provide the women a kind of an equality, but they are not being taken up. Is it clear? This particular article, guys, academic substance is not there. This article is more inclined towards the theocratic evidences, fine, which is not usable for our examination. So guys, with respect to the UPSC, the article does not contain much of a substance, so no need to read it. Now moving to the next. Okay, so here we have taken the article from the business section. IIP growth slowed to 0.4% in December. This particular article will be important for our GS paper number 3, economy related concepts, and for the prelims examination this particular concept will be important. So let's see this particular thing. So guys, this article is talking about the IIP growth which had slowed to 0.4% in December. Now see, first of all, 0.4%, and within this IIP different sectors what growth rate was there. You need not to go for this particular thing. Why? Because this information will be highly dynamic, it will change every next month. So therefore not important, numbers are not important, concept is important. So this, what is IIP? What is this IIP? So guys, IIP, it stands for the Index of Industrial Production. Okay, it is up index which shows the growth rate into the different sector, different industry groups, different sectors of Indian industry over a fixed period of time. Now the IIP, it is released by the National Statistical Office, NSO. Now understand this particular thing. At some places it will be written as CSO, it will be written as CSO. But see what had happened guys, recently two organization, that is the CSO plus NSSO, both got merged under the NSO. Is it clear? So if it is written at CSO, that information is old. Now the CSO and NSSO got merged under the NSO. So who releases the IIP? NSO. Where it is? It is under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Now guys, into this particular IIP, what happens? The industries it have classified sector wise, such as the mining sector, manufacturing sector, electricity sector. Industries have also classified onto the use based, onto the use. For example, the basic goods industry, the capital goods industry, the intermediate goods industry. Now when we talk about the IIP, the base year of IIP is 2011 and 12. Fine, we compare the IIP with 2011-12, which is the weight base year. Now guys, within the IIP there are the 8 core industries that are there, 8 core industries that are there which make up the 40% of the weight. So basically these 8 core industries, if we see the growth here, the growth over entire industrial sector can be understood by seeing the pattern of these 8 core industries. So within the IIP 8 core industries are there. What are these 8 core industries? Understand this particular thing. So fine, so these 8 core industries are: number 1, petroleum and refinery is there, it has the highest weight around 28.4%. Then the electricity generation is there, second highest. Then the steel production, third highest. Then the coal, after this is fourth. Then the crude oil production, okay. Then the natural gas, cement, fertilizer. So highest weightage is given to the petroleum and refinery, the lowest is given to the fertilizer production. So these are the 8 core industries within the IIP. They are total given 40% of the weightage, and they are very much important industrial sectors of India. Now guys, when we see the change into the IIP as a whole, for example, the 0.4% growth has happened, which is actually the slowed down growth. So it shows that where our industrial sector is moving, and by seeing the movement of the industrial sector, the IIP is used by the government, okay, to make the policies. Fine, what is to be done, okay, what type of impetus is to be given. These particular decisions are taken by studying the IIP. So this is all about this particular concept. Numbers are not important, concept is something that you need to look upon. So guys, this is all about the today's analysis, and with this we come to an end. Now guys, tomorrow, as we have said, 11 a.m, okay, tomorrow 11 a.m there will be the live Q&A session that we will be holding, so you can join it live there. And if there are any doubts, any issues, we can discuss that, and if there is a good response, we can consider to keep it as a regular event. Fine, we'll see that whether it goes well or whatever the response is. So that is all about this particular analysis. Guys, we'll be meeting tomorrow live for Q&A, and on Monday we will be meeting for our newspaper analysis. Please take care of yourselves. Till then, thank you so much.